talk, let me give a small brief about Dr. Praneethi Rao. Dr. Praneethi Rao is an eminent architectural designer. She has done a lot of work in Dubai and on many international arenas. She is a multi-talented lady. She is an artist, very good writer. She has done over 27 publications, and she has been traveling over the world giving talks. She has been provided and honored all over the world with an honorary PhD as well. So she's a well-known person when it comes to, at a very young age, she has achieved all these things. She has lived most of her life in Delhi, but she is from South. Her father is an eminent person from the government of India. So I would like to request Dr. Praneethi Rao to please start her talk, and after her talk we will have Q&A for some time. So we'd like to start the talk officially now. It's over to you, Dr. Praneethi Rao.
Okay, thank you, Professor Zia. I hope I'm audible, right?
Yes.
Okay, that was a very heavy introduction, I would say. Maybe I normally prefer giving my gratitudes first and my introductions later. So thank you one and all for being here, and thanks dignitaries to turn up to this event. So I actually thought when I'm given this sort of an opportunity, I do not want to talk about what was happening until 1950s. Rather, I wanted to spread some more awareness in terms of what design has, stepped up to in this generation. So I'm going to talk about Indo-British architecture. It can be called as Indo-Gothic, Neoclassical, multiple names, but let's keep it simple. Yeah. So it's Indo-British architecture, but I'm going to mainly focus on how it influenced design in this age. So architect Selva, can you just progress ahead, please? So this is a small activity sort of a thing. I would be showing you some of the architecture's important monuments that have been constructed by the British during their reign over here. So I would just like to see if anyone can guess which places they are. Yeah. So over to Selva. Yeah. Selva, can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Are you taking us to Delhi?
Should I? Yeah. So let me do that. Yeah, can you see it? So British has actually built some of the most important things like railway stations. We actually started off with functional buildings, and later now they have turned into monuments. So let's look at some of the monuments, yes? So go ahead, Salva. So yeah, can anyone guess out which place this belongs to?
Chennai train station.
Or,
yeah.
Yes, the last one is actually Madras railway station back then.
Madras, yes, yes.
The right side one is Madras University. So I want to keep a note about Madras railway station because even till today, it still looks the same. Okay, so it's not just a monument, it is a functional monument, isn't it? So nowhere ever, even when they were from 2004 onwards, they were really bad weather conditions and they were renovating this building in the same way, they were recreating it, but they never demolished it. That's something important that I wanted to, make a note of. So go ahead, Sada. Okay, what about this one? It's a really famous one, in fact.
Some hotel in Rajasthan?
Oh, that's actually a good guess, because you must have felt that the pointed arches on the top looks so much similar to Jaipur or Rajasthan, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's actually a brilliant guess, but then this is in Mysore. This is actually Mysore Maharaja's palace and still looks like this. They have renovated, painted it, but they used the architectural design ever. So let's go ahead. Salva. Okay, these two. The right one already gives you a hint that it's a general post office. So you have to like guess it out from where that is.
South Block, North Block, and post office in Mumbai.
Okay, the left side one is Delhi Secretariat. The moment Tejawat Sohan commented North Block and South Block, I totally got it. It's totally your field. Okay, the right side one is, yes, it's Mumbai General Post Office. Still functional. Okay, next. Okay, this one is a really good one, and guesses?
Is it a Rashtrapati Bhavan?
It used to be in a place called, okay, I'll directly give you the hint. It used to be called as like Calicut back then. So this is built in Calicut. Very, very. Okay, guess I think after this meeting is done, let's book some tickets to these places. Yeah. All right, this is Victoria Memorial in Kolkata. So these are already built. These are the reason I showed only these, because these are still functional. People are still using it. It's under utility and not just kept like a monument. So this is more than a monument. So go ahead, Salva. Please present the next one. So the main elements that rather than talking about the complete architecture of India or British, I would actually say that let's look at the elements carefully. So British always used to love this sort of, straight lines, extra borders throughout the home. But after they came to India, one thing to remember is the design might be the same, but the craftsmen are Indians. Indians have to do it. Now, an Indian who's so used to making rangoli, their hands are always so subtle in terms of curves. So once they stepped into India and those design elements were showing up, we were always into flowy designs. So you see that cornice on the right side. Nowadays, we see these sort of things in palaces or even homes, even if we get a false ceiling done, right? So design elements is what is actually influencing the design industry. So the main important thing I wanted to show about how it's influencing things is this. You go on, Salva, next one, please. So there are multiple verticals of design, never just architecture or engineering. There is always something more than that. For example, how a phone is designed, how a spoon is designed, how a water bottle is designed. And can you believe in everyday things that we use in the routine, we still are using Indo-British. We are using all those design elements. So can you think of something and say, yeah, this is one element that we have seen? Anything, in fact. I have almost 20 things around me, and I'm so sure that those elements have been picked up from the Indo-British architectural designs. So let's see what they are. Yes, Allah, next. So look at this one carefully. This was a British room that I designed in India for one of the villas. So if you notice carefully, the moment I make that as the sort of, it almost looks a bit Indian, isn't it? Because curves are something that we have always been into. So on the left side picture, if you see carefully, the right portion, there's a small curve on top of it. Now that curve is what it makes, Indian as well as British in the same place. So go ahead, Salva. Now this is a complete British style. If you look at the roof, it is very Yeah. Okay, just a second. Okay, cool. So even this room has its own, it is similar to that of the Victorian era, isn't it? The one which I showed you about Calicut, the Victorian Memorial. It has a similar colors, but to be honest, it is still Indian somewhere. So let's go ahead and actually see how this design influences in our daily life, because that is what is more important. And everyone actually knows about this, right? After Shah Jahan built, yeah. So after Shah Jahan got Taj Mahal built, he actually chopped off the hands of the workers. I'm sure everyone is aware of it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So the reason was not because he'll build another Taj Mahal. The reason was not because those artisans will build another Taj Mahal. The reason was that they might build something better than Taj Mahal. So which is why they actually chopped off. So one thing, ladies and gentlemen, which is very important in art is that you have to liberate your art. Sometimes we fall in love with our design so much that we don't liberate it. And when you don't liberate things, they don't grow. It's just like how you hold a baby's hand in the beginning of their, when they're kids and they're learning to walk. Later you leave their hand, isn't it? So that they learn by themselves, they walk by themselves. So it's the same with art. Once you fall in love with something, nurture it, give it its best of the design, and later liberate it. It sustains for the first generation, grows as well. So let's go for the next slide, Salva. Okay, so this is specifically what I wanted to show you so that you can get hints of how we use the same designs in normal things every day. Okay, so this is actually a Byzantine dome. Look at the geometries. It might look simple like a curve, that it has certain proportions. Okay, so go ahead, Salva, please. Okay, so this was the main thing I wanted to show. Now, from Indo-British architecture, which is completely architectural field, so, stuck with heavy materials, to this point where we use it in everyday thing. If you look at that fabric, including the sari which I'm wearing, has a similar zari, and you wouldn't believe that it still has Indo-architectural design elements. So let it be my sari, or let it be jewelry, or let it be a simple, the jhumka that a woman wears, everything has the same dome, which I just showed you in the previous slide. So not only in that, it's there in your crockeries, furniture, of course, and yes, fabrics mainly. So whatever you've been using, there are more than 20 things around you that have influence of Indo-British culture. And go ahead, Selma, let's show more. You see these crockeries, you might think it's very Indian to have such floral designs over it, but no, those curves have been done, but the materials that have been used are still in the style of British. So these are not Indian cutlery or Indian crockery, but actually they are Indo-British design elemented, crockeries and things. So go on, Sabha. Okay, and about the furniture. I know people still love this and they call it as vintage. But yeah, all these designs always, we always praise that, yes, these are from back ages. Even our Indian temples have such things. But honestly, no, it is still the same dome design. It's still the same geometric proportions. So we see this every day, but we fail to understand that these have always been influenced by the same Indo-British styles. Okay, go ahead. So the main important thing that I actually want to say is that Indo-British style still continued till what, 2021, is just because they have liberated their art in 1950s. And from 1950s onwards, all different artists, let it be in dance field, let it be in clothing field, or let it be in cutlery and other fields, they have taken up those design elements and continued growing in those verticals. So if they did not liberate those arts, we wouldn't be praising it today. And in fact, we missed out on a point that it is Indo-British, but we actually accepted the design, isn't it? So I wanted you to be aware that these elements are actually the ones which we are still using in our regular designs. And we consider them as, one of the best, isn't it? So that's the main thing I wanted to say. And now let me give my introduction. I'm Dr. Praneethi Rao, and I'm actually an electronics and communication student. I have integrated electronic solutions with architecture and construction. I have done my design studies and cinematography, and I own 3 companies, and that's about me. And if you want to see in detail, I would actually say, Sarva, can you just present those pictures, please? Yeah, this is one important thing I missed out. This is actually my phone cover. You wouldn't believe even this is Indo-British. Go on to the next picture, Salva, so that they can see the real dome or the curve. See that curve which is pointed? That is also Indo-British. Go on for the next one. And its functionality is also Indo-British. Next picture, Salva. This is a normal regular jhumka, but notice it carefully. It still has the same dome. Again, that is Indo-British. Go ahead.
All right, lovely.
That's it.
Dr. Praneethi, I hope we are done with the talk now.
Yes.
Okay, first of all, I would like to thank you for a very interactive talk and very informative as well. But it was very interesting to see all the buildings what you have showed, and it's very interesting again that there was a such a great architectural history of Indo-British. However, I would like now to start the Q&A with our Vice President, Mr. Harsha's permission. Mr. Harsha.
Yes, you can go ahead, Praneethi.
Okay. So any question and answer, please let me know. Okay, Zishan would like to ask a question if I'm right. Yes, Zishan, please go ahead.
Yeah. Good afternoon to all. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah, no.
Your
want to ask
introduction.
Yeah, I am Zishan. I'm an electrical engineer and electronic engineer, Triple E. So I want to ask a question about how the designs has been put in early ages from Indo and British. Can you explain, ma'am?
You mean the history of how British got its design and India got its
Yeah,
design?
yeah, sure.
So back then, people used to be nomads. They used to travel from different places to different places. And being British, it's actually a famous saying that wherever the sun rises, their empire rises too. So they've been to many other countries before they landed in India. So their design perspective was already much more wide. But when they came to India, they realized, okay, these sort of designs don't fit in India. But there is some design called Byzantine, and that fits in India. So that's how they have inculcated this feature into Indian boundaries.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Hello.
You're on mute. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Mr. Zishan would like
See,
to
that's
say.
it. Ajia?
Yes, sir. Please.
Yeah. Now you talked of Indo-British, but also there are both other architectures across the globe.
Yeah.
What influences they have had? In fact, even those countries have ruled some part of India.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's also you can have Roman and then Greek, Gothic, Chinese.
European influence throughout, which is why by the time British was already in, people were very familiar to curves and domes. So even before British came, our palaces were already having domes which were, having acoustic reverberance, inside. So that echo or the amphitheaters. So that is something that we have built up from Romans and Europeans, mainly Europeans, I would say.
In
I think
fact, the dome structure they brought into Parliament House is a very Indian. Some of those temples.
Yeah, people always say it, but no, it's actually, if you go back and see, it started by nomads called Byzantine. Those are the nomads, and they started long back in the 80s. Before that, in fact, BC, in fact, before that. So once they started traveling, wherever they go, they used to build a similar dome, which is how we started. Right from, Dravidian side or the Aryan side, both of them have picked up the domes from there.
But I think sir asked a very interesting and a very apt question, because when I visited London, I could also find a lot of influence of Indian architecture on many of their buildings, and they appreciate a lot. In fact, I think one of the favorite places of the British, I feel, is that Indian, like Ajanta Ellora. They visit that place a lot, and they know the significance of the impact of Indian historical architecture, all over the world. So I think we also have some of the greatest buildings in the world.
Yeah,
That's my take.
and most importantly, because not just for the aesthetic reasons, but also the functionality. Our amphitheaters or our dining spaces were much functional and utility wise, they were more efficient. So which is why there are other countries too who have inculcated the similar design. So
I think Anusha would like to ask a question. Anusha? Anusha? Anusha, can you hear me? Okay, I think her audio has an issue.
I see
Any more?
Prashant has dropped in a message saying that French and Portuguese architecture in Indian territories. Yeah, that's true. It is actually a two-way street. It's see, art is never like, it's stuck to one boundary. It's always like give and take. Wherever you go, they migrate. Designs always migrate along with people. So thank you, Prashant, for the message.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, any more questions? Okay, Dr. Praneethi, can you please leave your contact details? Few of our viewers would like to get in touch with you. You can tell your website.
Already on the screen, but something I would actually request personally is to tell people that the design elements that we use in everyday life are being migrated from somewhere, and it's good to go ahead that way. Yeah, so sustain art and develop art more.
Okay, lovely. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. I would like to profoundly thank His Excellency, Mr. Ramchandra Tejawat, and the entire Association of British Scholars, which is a strong 500 scholars, including our Director General of Police and so many judges and very prominent doctors from UK, and which is a part of Hyderabad. And we also have an office in British Council. You can check out the website of British Council and you'll find a page of Association of British Scholars. And I would like to request all those people who have studied in United Kingdom to join this wonderful group where we do some of the best talks and also social initiatives. We have some of the prominent people from Telugu film industry as well, part of Association of British Scholars, and a lot of people benefit from this intellectual interaction. I would like to profoundly thank Dr. Praneethi Rao for taking time and making a beautiful presentation. However, I think we would require more such interactions in the future. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I wish you all a very good evening and weekend. Thank you, kind of you.
Thank you.
Hope to meet
Thank you.
Sometime.
Thank you, kind of you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Harsha.